Hi everyone, Melissa Griffin from the Parent Collective. So we are so excited to share the pregnancy and birth story of the lovely Jen Tucker. We love her. She is our second Selectwoman of Westport. She's also a mum of 3. And so Jen, tell us a little bit about, firstly, I'd love to start hearing a little bit about your pregnancy. So you had all your 3 babies in England, didn't you?
I did, yeah, and I feel like, you must think I'm 100 years old and wondering if I actually remember being pregnant, but I do.
Can I just say, Jen's youngest is 9, so don't believe her when she says that.
So that's right, I do have a 17-year-old son, Jack, and I have a 14-year-old daughter, Riley, and then a 9-year-old daughter, Nicole, and they all were born in the UK. My husband and I were working over there. We thought we were going for 2 years. We ended up there for 12, working for an American company. So we had all 3 children there. Yeah.
And what were your pregnancies like for overall? Because I know obviously you've had 3, so I'm sure each one was different. But what was your overall riding feeling?
I just think back and I just have so many great memories of being pregnant. We didn't have any problems conceiving, and that's actually, I think we were pretty lucky.
Yeah.
My husband and I both had pretty demanding jobs and very demanding travel schedules, and so there was always a joke among our friends that it was amazing that I actually was able to get pregnant because we were sort of 2 ships passing in the dark all the time. But anyway, so we're very lucky we did not have problems conceiving. But I just have such happy memories, and maybe I just pick one from each pregnancy. Would that be okay?
That would be great.
All right, because they're sort of random. But just as I think about them, it was just very happy times for me. With my 17-year-old Jack, at that point I was doing a lot of traveling in Asia for work, and so one of my last trips out there, I was about 7 months pregnant. So at that point it was very clear I hadn't just eaten too many donuts, that I was literally expecting a child. And I never really liked to get special treatment being pregnant. I kind of was like, oh no, I got this, I'm all good, no, I don't need anything special. But I don't know if, anyway, traveling Asia for business, one of the customs is that the locals host you. And they always host you in restaurants that they are very proud of, that serve local specialties, and maybe more exotic, the more special. And so it was always a little bit hard for me. And this particular trip, because I was clearly expecting, it was such a warm welcome, and I got exempt from eating the local specialties, and I was like, man, being pregnant is the best. Could I just stay pregnant for the next 10 years? Because it got me out of eating some pretty crazy things that trip. So I was like, oh, thank you, Jack. I didn't know his name was Jack at that time, but I'm like, oh, thank you, baby. You got me out of this one. So that was like my very happy sort of story from that pregnancy. But clearly I felt well enough to travel and work full time and all that good kind of stuff. But I guess I remember vividly the day I went into labor with him, because I was still working and I hadn't quite gotten my act together to get everything wrapped up to sort of go off on leave, working late hours, jamming, also months of sort of to-do lists that you haven't gotten done, and you're sort of trying to, I'm like, be out of here for a couple months. And I remember taking the tube home that night. My husband was away on a trip for work, and he was away just for the day. And so I'm on the tube, and I'm standing, because of course, I don't want, right, no special treatment. I'm standing on the tube, and it kind of lurches, as it always does, right? The tube lurches to a stop frequently. I lurch with it, without grace, and don't think much about it, don't have any pain, nothing like that. Walk home, get home, half hour later, my waters break. And I've always wondered if, I have no idea, I have absolutely no idea if that was, but he was about 3 weeks early. And so I always wonder if that was sort of the what kind of caused my waters to break. So anyway, but that was all fine and dandy and no worries at all. And we 20 hours of labor and an emergency C-section later, we had a baby. So it was all good. So that's definitely didn't go to plan that day. Definitely still wanted to have him naturally, but didn't work out that way. So yeah, so he was an emergency C-section baby. And it was fine. It was completely fine. He's fine. He's almost 6 foot tall and 17 years old. I was fine. It's all good. It's all good.
And what about with number 2? So Riley's in the middle, is that right?
Riley is my 14-year-old. And So I talked to Riley a lot when she was in the womb. And I don't know why. I just did. I talked to all of them, but I especially talked to. And I remember my happy memory of Riley in the womb is, so Jack would have been, so if I did the calculation, Jack was about 3 weeks early. And the closer I got to my due date with Riley, if she came at the same time he did, it would ruin his first week of nursery school. Right? And I was like tortured by this. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get my first child settled into nursery school. If the new baby comes in the middle of that, it's going to be awful. He's going to, he's not going to like the baby because it's ruined his week and whatever, on and on and on. So I just kept going, please, and she didn't have a name yet, please just stay in. Just give me the week. Just give me the week. I'll get him settled. He's a little scheduled kid. Like, it's all good. If he gets in his little schedule, just stay in for the week. And she did. She stayed in for the week. I know. She gave him the first week. He got settled into nursery school very well. And sure enough, Saturday morning, my waters broke and there we went. Because, of course, I was determined to deliver this one naturally. Yeah, that didn't happen. Although my OB did not let me go through 20 hours of labor this time. She said, I don't know, 12 or 13. She's like, yeah, this is not happening. You're not going to deliver naturally, and we're going to have another emergency C-section. And I'm like, okay. And I have to say, I did, I felt a little frustrated by that. I really, really did. I didn't want to go au natural. I was definitely ready for the drugs, but I was not planning on delivering by a C-section. That was not my plan. But both came via emergency C-section, and that was that. So
and number 3, feedback with number 3 or not?
So Nicole is my 9-year-old. Clearly, we waited. A lot of people wonder if she's an oops because we have 5 years between number 2 and number 3. She's not an oops. She was very planned, the kids are older, right? Jack is 7.5, Riley's 4.5. So my favorite memory of pregnancy with her is we decide we're going to find out what she is. So whether or not they're going to have a baby brother or a baby sister. And we decide we'll take the kids with us. Okay, yeah, right? Okay, here we go. So you know where this is going. So we're like, all right, we're all in the room, where mommy's belly is, they're doing the imaging. And back 100 years ago when I was pregnant, you really could, you were like looking at the screen, looking for the bits. Oh, I see a bit there. It must be a boy. I see No, you couldn't see anything, right? Like you had no idea what the gender of these kids were. You just had to let the guy tell you. So everybody's looking at the screen and, the kids are right next to me. And so the guy goes, are you ready? Do you want to know what you're having? And they're like, yes. And he's like, you're having a baby sister. And they were like, huh? And my husband and I look at each other and we're like, ruh-roh. Oh no, maybe we shouldn't have brought him to this. There's like this awkward silence in the room. I'm like, okay. So, bad parenting number 3. It's like, oh, anyway. We laugh about it all the time. Nicole knows this story. I would never share it publicly if she didn't. We giggle. We wouldn't know what to do without our sweet, wonderful 9-year-old Nicole. But yeah, it was that moment of, oh boy. Yeah, right, I know. So, and Nicole, I could not convince my OB to try for a 3rd time naturally. She's like, yeah, that's not happening. We're going to plan the C-section. So she was delivered got to pick the date, pack our bags, drop the kids off at school, leave the notes for the nanny.
So much more relaxed, though. Don't you?
Yeah, it was a little strange, but you get a healthy baby. You don't care. At the end of the day, how it all goes. At the end of the day, when that beautiful, beautiful baby pops out, and I guess now I can legitimately tell my kids when they ask me how babies are born, I say, you popped out on my belly. I'm not lying. So that's what happened. It doesn't matter. The minute you hear that cry and everybody's healthy, it's all good.
And what was your what was it like after the babies arrived? Because obviously I gave birth in England, so did Jessica, and that was one of the reasons why we started the Parent Collective.
Which is so exciting.
Tell everyone what it was like shortly after the birth, as in support and midwives visiting, and it's incredible, isn't it?
It's incredible, and yes, so that's I think why I do. Not only were my pregnancies by and large happy and risk-free, the support system. So first of all, the support system in the hospital, right? When you've had birth, just right post birth, and then when you get home, to have a midwife come pay a visit to you in your home, to see your surroundings, to make sure that you're healthy and happy, that the baby is happy and healthy, that the siblings are happy and healthy. It's not just, I don't have to tell you guys, it's not just a service for for firstborn. They do this for as many kids as you have, and they come in and check and make sure, and they check, they check the cot bed, they check the, your pram, they check things to make sure everything's safe, and they really check you. They check, and they really want to make sure the mom is healthy and doing well in her own environment. I just thought the support was so great. It probably contributed to the fact that, the first 2 C-sections, they were emergency C-sections. They were, a little, they're fine, but they were a little rocky. But my recovery was seamless with all 3 of them. And I felt so well taken care of. And then to actually receive names, again, of what you guys are, names of people, in my neighborhood who just had babies. And so then we could, walk to the park together and get to, whatever we wanted to do, walk and go to have a cup of tea together, invite somebody over, and, to be able to form those friendships, especially living thousands of miles away from family and close friends. And I didn't have, when I had my first, I didn't have any other friends, really locally that had children or had babies. So it was a very big deal. That network, but the network made it so nice. I still write Christmas cards to 2 of the women from that very first group, and they were from all over, because you're in London, right? So people they're all nationalities. They're not necessarily Brits. They're certainly not Americans. It's a very special relationship, a very special time, such a happy time. Yeah,
that's so nice.
Such a happy
Jen,
time.
So lovely. Thank you so much for sharing those stories.
Thank you for letting me have a moment to think about it, because it's just a time of such optimism, and I hope people know that and enjoy every minute.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.